Kellen Winslow II. His father was a Hall of Famer, but he was a great player as well, made tens of millions of dollars, but he's accused of being a serial sex offender. And that trial was broadcast here on Court TV. Take a look at what happened.
You will learn over the course of the next few weeks, he took what he wanted, not from one, not from two, but 3 women. He victimized 5 women. 5 women, unknown to each other, barely known to the defendant. All of them have come forward to tell you about his deeds.
Kellen Winslow's been honest from the start. Over a year ago, he admitted he had consensual sex with those accusers. Those accusers aren't giving you the whole truth.
I begged him not to do this, to let this happen. Just please let me go.
Did it hurt when he penetrated you vaginally with his penis?
Yes, I kept on saying, ow, 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 ow. I was terrified.
Yeah,
I thought he was a terrorist.
You did? Oh, he's a terrorist. So you're walking around downtown and so you just going about your day for hours with these pants with blood all over them?
Yes.
He held me, grabbed my arms, and he says, we're gonna have sex. And I said, please don't do this. He had me take my pants off.
I was walking toward the orange tree. I turned my back, and then he was taking off his pants.
She had asked me to look up the phone number for the Encinitas Sheriff's Department. I was a little concerned because of the STD testing mentioned a few days before. So I asked her if everything was okay, and she said, yes, I was attacked, but I'm going to file a police report.
But you saw that she clearly lied to this jury during her testimony. You saw that, didn't you?
Yes, she lied about her alcoholism.
She told this jury that she hadn't drank for 30 years. You saw that, right?
Yes.
That's a flat-out lie, isn't it?
It is.
Kellen, his hand was on the back of my head. He was penetrating me from behind.
Was he having sex with you at the time that you regained consciousness?
Yes. He was holding on to my hair. And I'm pushing with both of my hands. I get this guy to stop. And I just keep telling him to stop.
He had his legs open, and he was touching his penis right on my face. And I noticed that he has an erected penis. So I was frozen of fear. And he said to me with a very funny and happy face, pointing his penis, she said, do you see this? Do you like it?
But you couldn't see underneath the water.
No.
You didn't know what he was doing with his hand.
No.
You didn't know whether he was rubbing a leg or anything like that. You don't know. Because you couldn't see.
Yes.
Okay.
And is it your decision alone not to testify?
Yeah, I'm not going to testify. Make no mistake, he has proven himself to be a sexual predator. Lightning certainly doesn't strike twice, let alone 5 times.
They will call him a predator. They will call him a deviant until you forget why you're here. But this is why you're here. The facts, if you apply the law the right way, you can come to the only reasonable conclusion. And that is that Kellen Winslow is not guilty of the charges that have been levied against him. There clearly is insufficient evidence to convince anybody beyond a reasonable doubt.
Do not lose sight of the forest through the trees. Kellen Winslow is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Come together in one voice and find him guilty.
Verdict. Count 4. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kellen Boswell Winslow II, guilty of the crime of rape by force or fear. Verdict. Count 6. Guilty of the crime of indecent exposure. Verdict. Count 9. Guilty of the crime of lewd conduct. Verdict. Count 10. Not guilty of the crime of lewd conduct.
It now appears to this court that this jury is hopelessly deadlocked with respect to counts 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 11, and 12. I now declare a mistrial.
That was a mixed up verdict. I mean, it just flashed on the screen for a moment there, but you saw how complicated it was. It was a mixed partial verdict, meaning there were some guilties, some not guilties, and some where the jury couldn't agree. So the ones where the jury couldn't agree, There was a new trial that was scheduled, but then just before the trial's about to happen, Kellen Winslow entered into a plea. But today, the attorney's back in court, Winslow appearing remotely via Zoom. There was a change to that plea deal. Let's take a look at what happened today.
I do have in my hand a change of plea form. This is a modification from the original change of plea. Is that correct, Mr. Owens?
Yes.
All right, would you like to describe to the court the changes that are contemplated by this amendment to the change of plea?
Yes, Your Honor. There's going to be a withdrawal of the guilty plea that was entered on November 4th of 2019, impacting the sexual battery count involving Jane Doe 1, the Penal Code Section 243.4 for an A charge that Mr. Winslow previously admitted. And in its place, Mr. Winslow will be admitting a guilty plea to a charge of Penal Code Section 220, parentheses A, which would be assault with the intent to commit rape within the meaning of Penal Code Section 261A2, involving that same victim, Jane Doe 1. And the people and the defense have agreed to a stipulated term in prison of 14 years, where it has been calculated in the way that we laid out on paragraph 2.
All right. So essentially the only changes are he's going to withdraw his plea of guilty to the 234.4 for Jane Doe number 1, and in its place plead guilty to an LIO of count 2, which is Penal Code Section 220A, and stipulate to a 14-year sentence. Is that correct, Mr. Owens?
Yes.
And Mr. Carlos, is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you had a chance to discuss this with your client?
I have here.
All right.
So a 14-year deal, but it wasn't over yet because now he's got to enter that plea, and Kellen Winslow II spoke today. Take a listen.
Do you agree to the stipulated sentence of 14 years then?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you understand that you have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to confront and cross-examine all the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent unless you choose to testify on your own behalf, and you also have the right to present evidence on your own behalf and subpoena documents and witnesses through the power of the court to come to court and testify for you? Do you understand you have all of those rights?
Yes, I do. I want to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If that's okay.
That's fine.
I just wanted to know if I was to go to trial, would I get an actual jury of my peers that people of color that would look like me? Would I get a jury trial like that?
Okay, well, look.
Just a question.
Yeah, Mr. Winslow, the point now is the change of plea form that you already executed is a binding change of plea form. You cannot get to another trial unless you make a motion to withdraw your plea of guilty. And that's not where we are right now. All we're doing is amending a change of plea form. So if you don't want to do this amendment, the original change of plea form will remain, and you can be sentenced up to 18 years. Is that what you'd like to do? Because we can end this right now.
Oh, no, Your Honor.
No, please, no, I'll take the 14-year deal. That reminds me of what happened the last time he tried to enter a plea. Take a look.
Do you understand that you do have the right to a speedy and public jury trial to address whether or not these charges can be proved beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
And do you now give up that right to a speedy and public jury trial so that you may enter a plea of guilty?
Is there any way I could get a couple minutes or no?
And that couple of minutes turned into hours. But now it looks like it finally is wrapped up, a 14-year deal for Kellen Winslow II.